Pope Francis has been buried at St. Mary Major, and the masses of the 9 days of mourning continue here in Rome. What happens at the Paul VI meeting hall each day are these general congregation meetings of the entire College of Cardinals. Those will occur right up until the conclave starts next week. For more on those meetings, the candidates, and where the Cardinals are at this point, I'm joined by Vatican correspondent for the National Catholic Register and co-founder of the College of Cardinals Report.com, Edward Pentin. Ed, great to see you. Tell the audience about these meetings. I mean, I've always said this is really where the business of the conclave happens, in these private meetings. What's happening there? What's been the reaction of these cardinals?
Exactly. These meetings are absolutely crucial because this is the time when the cardinals really get a chance to, first of all, lay out the challenges that the next Pope's going to face and the challenges that they think are the priorities. And then also they're going to look at the particular candidates and those that are suitable to really deal with those challenges. And so it really is a kind of an opportunity for them to really showcase what they think is a priority.
Yeah. We saw Cardinal Battista Re the other day during his funeral homily for Pope Francis, and he mourned his passing. He urged a continuation of his legacy. How was that received by the Cardinals and those who live and work here in Rome?
Right. Well, I think it was very much an accurate representation of what many feel, that he was a people's pope. You know, he was somebody who cared for the poor. That was very much an emphasis of his homily. I think there was some concern at the end when he said, he asked us to pray for him, and now he can pray for us from heaven.
Yeah.
Well, that really isn't strictly Catholic teaching, because we don't know if he's in heaven. We hope that he's in heaven. We don't know for sure.
You spoke to a Vatican employee recently about this, though, about Francis's passing.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, as many viewers know, that there was an external perception of Francis, which was quite different in many ways to those who worked with him. And I think there was a strong sense during his pontificate that it was a rather oppressive atmosphere in the Vatican. And this particular official, when he was asked, how do you feel now he's gone, he said, I feel free. So there's a sense that it was a difficult time to work for him, because I think there was a certain amount of arbitrariness about his way of governing. You couldn't predict what he was going to do.
Yes.
And there were good aspects, of course, but there was this side which was
well, you said it. There was a disconnect, I think, between the visual that the public got and what the public perceived at general audiences and papal trips, and then the reality of how he governed, which is something I'm sure these cardinals will be considering in the days ahead. But originally we were hearing that the conclave might be scheduled to begin on May 5th, a day earlier than canon law allows. Then after some discussion, the General Congregation of Cardinals set the date for May 7th. That's when the conclave will begin. Why the extra 2 days? Why are those important, Ed? And I know Benedict changed the rules of election so that if all the electors were present, they could move the conclave up.
That's right.
Who wanted to move it up?
Well, we don't know for sure, but I think it was really for those who. This is a very big number of cardinals. I think it's the biggest we've ever had, cardinal electors, and so they need that time to get ready to have the discussions that we were just talking about, and really just to be fully prepared for what's coming. I think that was and also, yes, it was.
Well, these men don't know each other.
Exactly, they don't know each other.
They're from far-flung parts of the world. They represent very little communities, which is something that we don't talk about enough. I mean, it's lovely that you've made a cardinal from the periphery, but some of these guys have 1,000 Catholics in their entire purview. That's half a small parish in the States. So it's a very odd, I think they feel a bit at sea. They don't know these other men, and the other men don't know them. So it's a getting to know you period. But again, the real work of the conclave has already begun in these general meetings. Ed, we'll talk about this later in the week, but there seems to be an emerging divide. Those who want to continue the Francis legacy of synodality, suppression of the Latin Mass, support for migrants. I mean, that became a big theme. And others are saying this would be a catastrophe, that the church is in a moment of chaos and non-clarity. Where is their thinking at this moment? The general, what are the thoughts of the cardinals as they're going into this? And I guess who are the major candidates?
Well, I mean, it's quite interesting that the Vatican has been putting out these statements about what they're discussing. And as you say, it's very much what the Francis pontificate was about. It's about migration and climate change and synodality and these things. But there isn't much talk about what's needed, at least not yet, in a pope. And the emphasis on the spiritual, on the Pope being not a temporal leader, not about politics, not about these temporal issues, but more about guiding souls to the next life and salvation of souls. Yeah. Whether they move on to that, we don't know, but at this stage. But that I think is interesting.
Who are the primary contenders on each sides of this divide, if you will? Those who want to continue Francis's legacy, those who say, no, we need a more doctrinaire Pope who reinforces the faith and brings clarity out of this confusion.
Well, it's interesting. We'll talk about this College of Cardinals report in a second. But doing some of the research into these cardinals, it is interesting that the vast majority of Francis's picks all like one of these issues, one of three, or maybe all three of these issues, whether it's migration or climate change or interreligious dialogue. These have run right through his picks. And so that's why you're getting very much an emphasis of these things. And I think there's perhaps I don't say a lack of balance, but there is certainly more pushing that than there are sort of the more traditional things that we've seen before.
Well, we will keep watching this in the days ahead. And I have to say, your guide, you and Diana Montagna, it's an indispensable guide. It's called the Cardinals, collegeofcardinalsreport.com. And I have to say, it's an exhaustive treatment of each of these men, and you really do get to know them in a very broad way. It's an indispensable resource, so check it out, collegeofcardinalsreport.com. Ed Pentin will check in with you in the days ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be with you.